Hi, welcome back to my channel. Heaven is waiting for you. Now, this is my part 3 of What Time is Purple. I am loving this book. It just breaks down everything so amazing, and we all want to know what the truth is, don't we? Even as Christians, we need to really think about why we believe what we believe. And I believe that all truth will point to the Lord Jesus. I am confident in this. You can check out my other videos as well. I came out of the 2x2 cult, and that's a whole nother story. So I'm gonna do continue. This is part 3. Okay. Is there a hand on the steering wheel? Now that we've established something has existed eternally and acted as the uncaused cause of all that exists, now let's look at how the somethings of biblical theism and atheism differ. After all, these are the peculiarities that put these worldviews worlds apart. Sorry, some of this is like hard to say, but I think you get the gist of it. Starting with biblical theism, the something that has always existed is a transcendent, uncreated God, complete with attributes described in the Bible. Things like personhood, having a mind that thinks and a will that acts, power exercised with both purpose and intentionality, and preferences such as moral behavior. These are essential ingredients in biblical theism's God package. Otherwise, God would be identical to random, mindless energy. Atheists, on the other hand, believe this eternal something is the universe and are articulated by the late Carl Sagan, who said the cosmos is all that is or ever was or ever will be. But unlike biblical theisms, God, atheism's universe has no mind and thus no thoughts, purposes, or intentions. It doesn't prefer things like good or evil, orchestrate things like evolution, or decide things like let there be light. For the atheist, the universe simply exists, and it abides by whatever physical reactions and interactions its existence enables. This, however, is where atheism's something runs into serious trouble with explaining reality. And it says in the little blurb, some wonder if our universe is just one of the many universes or if it was spawned from another universe. Throughout this booklet, the term universe will refer to the totality of all space, matter, and energy from all time. Mathematical traffic jams. The first question smart gamblers ask is, what are the odds? There's a good reason for it. Playing the odds gives them the best chance at winning. However, the odds for many things we see in our universe coming into existence without any intelligent input or intentionality are so mind-numbingly improbable it requires an irrational dose of blind faith to even consider them. How mind-numbing, you ask? I'll give just one brief example. Take living cells and the biological proteins that compose them. If we consider just one simple living cell consisting of only 250 short proteins, and those 250 proteins each consist of only 150 amino acids, they can consist of up to 30,000 amino acids. The odds that these 37,500 amino acids, 250 proteins times 150 amino acids could all arrange themselves into a sequence where the cell would actually function is only one chance in, what is this, 10 to the 41,000? That's one, that's a 1 followed by 41,000 zeros. With a 2, I think. It says C sidebar. Sorry, I'm lost here. But anyways, to put into perspective how large a number 10 to the 41,000 really is, that's the number of random attempts 37,500 amino acids would need to produce just one living cell. Consider that there are an estimated 10 to the 80 atoms in our entire universe. Even if we allowed every atom in the universe 1 trillion, 10 to the 12th atomic interactions per second for 14 billion years, approximately 10 to the 18th seconds, and we'd only have 10 to the 110 interactions. 10 to the 80 times 10 to the 12 times 10 to the 18 equals 10 to the 110. Wow, oh my goodness, that's intense. That's a lethal problem for atheism. Even if the universe were 14 billion years old, that's the oldest estimate even the most ardent atheists give it. There hasn't been nearly enough time for 10 to the 41,000 attempts at anything, not by a long shot. And that's only one example out of the countless others we could offer. Hopefully that made sense. I was lost at the math. At this point, some may suggest believing in God requires as much blind faith as believing in the 1 in 10 to the 41,000 odds, but that isn't the case. In fact, it's a nonsensical comparison. These kinds of mathematical improbabilities apply only when unintentional randomness is involved. To ask what the probability is of God existing is like asking what time is purple. Okay, henceforth the name of this book. A couple of speed traps. As if the mathematical improbabilities weren't large enough potholes on atheism's road to truth, there are two fundamental laws that further impede its progress. The second law of thermodynamics. I thought that would be a bigger word than I was, yeah. And the law of non-contradiction. The second law of thermodynamics is a scientific axiom describing how systems tend to decay and expend their usable energy. If we think of the universe as one system, over time, order will disintegrate into disorder and its usable energy will be depleted. The law of non-contradiction is a foundational rule of logic that states something can't be both true and not true at the same time. And in the same context, for example, this booklet cannot be a booklet and not a booklet at the same time. Good point. Just two simple laws, but here's why atheism's eternal universe must slam on the brakes when forced to abide by them. Number one, because the second law of thermodynamics is true. Living organisms and their systems tend to devolve downward rather than evolve upward. Our universe must have had a beginning and cannot have existed eternally. These two points catch many asleep at the wheel. Why? Because number one, they don't realize their law negates the possibility of the origin of life and evolutionary development in the naturalistic sense most people think of. And number two, they fail to realize that if the universe is continuously depleting its usable energy, yet some usable energy still exists, the universe had a relatively recent beginning. Beginnings are something eternal entities can't experience. Otherwise, all its usable energy would have been depleted eons ago. Number two, because the law of non-contradiction is true. The second law of thermodynamics cannot also be false. Since the second law of thermodynamics cannot be false, believing in either naturalistic evolution, or an eternal universe is both illogical and unscientific. It's enough to make you think, but actually the act of thinking brings atheism to another series of roadblocks. I will stop right here and do a part 4. See you in the next video, and remember, heaven is truly waiting for you. God bless you.